All right, this is exercise 9, Moody Mosaics, right? And this is about exploring color, using color theory, using color for mood and tone. And so what we'll be doing is you'll be creating these wonderful little mosaics here, right? You can make just squares, or if you want to go crazier, you can do this. I'm providing a file with you. Obviously, given the coronavirus here, we may have to use something different. I'll make a separate video if we have to use Photopea, but I'll just continue using Illustrator. So what you're going to do is 4 of these explorations. Look for a 3-color exploration based on the word active, right? And so what I want you to do is use the 60-30-10 rule in this one. Next one is you're going to do a 4-color explanation based on the word somber, right? And then obviously with all these, you want to label what kind of scheme it is, both of these, what kind of color rule you're using. Last one, a 5-color theme here where you want to pick an emotion or something and find. So this one you use some different. I'm gonna go through all these things, and then whoops, I hit a thing. And the last one, you're gonna take a photo and find a color scheme from that, because one of the good things about sometimes we have a key photo in a design, and so why don't we sample colors from that to give us the rest of the colors in our typography and things like that. It's a good technique to use as a designer. So you're going to look at a couple websites for this. The first one is called color.adobe.com, and so you see on this you'll have one central color. This is the main color that you can move around here. When you come, you'll be like this. And over here, you can change which color rule is used: monochromatic, triad, complementary, right? So you could play with these, looking for what feels active, what feels somber to you, right? Like right here, this looks fairly somber to me. Maybe it's a little bright. Maybe I'll move it down a little or something. But that's one way of finding a color theme. The next one, we'll go to the extract theme. And this will let you take a photo and find it. So let's say I had a photo, and you've seen this photo in the other videos, and I bring it up here. This will sample colors for me for a color scheme, and that's a really beautiful color scheme right there. Colorful, and you can have different tones: bright, muted, deep, dark, right? So a real fun way to sample colors. You can also drag these around at your will if you wanted to replace a color for some reason. So how do you use these in Illustrator if I had these colors? Well, let's first talk about the file that I have you download. So there's a file that you're going to download, and it's an Illustrator file. And you'll see these 4 canvases, right? These are the 4 different canvases. And I also provided you with these shapes here. So you can use these. So remember, holding Option makes a copy. So say I would just do this. Whoops, I don't want to get those. You're going to have to zoom in a little bit with that border. If you want to ever turn this border radius off because it's hurting you for grabbing something, you can go to View, Hide Corner Widget, and that will get rid of it. And I'm just going to, hold down Option and make copies. Basically make copies until I have a 9x9 grid. I can also use this shape if you wanted to use this shape. And if you wanted to reflect it, all you'd have to do is I'm just going to hold Option, and then I'm going to go to the side, hold Shift until I get to, where I want to go here. So I can have these as separate colors. And what you want to do is use these, use the colors that you have that you found for your color theme. So moseying back to color.adobe right here. With this one, you see that it doesn't have the color. I don't know why it doesn't have RGB colors down here. So how do you sample these? What I would do is take a photo of this. So if you have a Mac, hopefully you do, you might have a PC, let's find a different way for that. But I'll hit Command-Shift-4, and that brings up my little crosshair. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure I get every color represented. I'm gonna go back to Illustrator because the way my computer's set up. I'm gonna find that swatch that this image it made. And I'm simply going to drag it in there. I'm going to zoom out so I can get all those colors in my screen at once as well. Whoops, there we go. Okay, so to sample a color, I'm going to select the thing I want to sample. I'm going to go to the eyedropper tool, which is I on your keyboard, and I'll simply just click on it, and there it is. So right, if I wanted this one to be the same color, I could just sample the color from the other one, or if I wanted to get a color down here, I just sample that. So pretty simple, right? So I would just go ahead and make my wonderful pattern, right? Maybe I want to do this, take this one and make it this. I wish I took the bright color one. Right, so again, you just do that to make that wonderful mosaic pattern that we see in these exemplars right here. And so you do that with somber and active. So let's go back to the color wheel here. I like the color wheel better because you have these colors this way. So I could have done the picture thing that way, but I could also do, let's make a nicer color scheme here. Yeah, why is this so dark? I'm gonna refresh this, see if it'll get brighter. There we go. And be in here. And if I wanted, say I wanted this terrible searing color, well, there's a couple things I could do. I could copy these RGB values, right? So 180, 255, 41. Probably far easier is just to copy the hexadecimal code. So I'm going to take everything except for the hashtag there, hit Command C to copy, go back to Illustrator, grab my item I want to put it in. Now this is in CMYK mode. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to RGB. And then I'm going to paste that right in here, hit enter. And so now I've done that, right? So what you're going to do is use a 3-color scheme that's active, a 4-color scheme that's somber. The last one is, the third one I should say, is where you're going to find it based on a mood that you want to come up with. So for this one, you're going to go to a different website. You're going to go to colors.co. Because they changed the way Adobe does it, and I don't like it anymore. And so you're just going to browse, right? And you're going to pick an adjective. Say I wanted an adjective like, I don't know, energetic, right? Well, I guess that's the same as active. Obviously, come up with something that's different than active and somber, but maybe wistful or something, or progressive, or fancy. I don't know, something like that. And I might say, ooh, I like this, modern, right? So that's like an adjective. And so I want to use these. So this one's nice. It has an export button. So we could download this as, well, let's download it as a ping. And so we have this. It actually just opens this up. So you still have to save it from here. So I'm just going to grab it and throw it on my desktop. And now I'm going to go back to my Illustrator file, put this one in. It's so big. And do it all again, right? So make my squares and sample them based on these colors. What you want to do too with each of these is just go ahead and write a word, which one it is. So for the active and somber ones, I want you to tell me the color rule. So I might say this one is, analogous. And you can just write it right over it. It really doesn't matter to me. And then I'll make the next one. Maybe I made it monochromatic. Right? And then this one over here, when it was done, I would write what the word is. So I said it's modern, right? So that's the adjective that I played with. And then the last one is from a photo to an image, right? So for that one, you're going to upload this AI file. So you just save it as an AI file and upload the photo that you sampled from, just like we did in the other one. So you don't have to label it with anything. You just need to make a fun mosaic out of the colors you did from that. And I think that's pretty much everything you need to know about doing this project in Illustrator. I'm going to do a separate video in case we wind up having to do it in Photopea. I'm not Photopea. We're actually going to do it something called Vector. So yeah,